I lived a dream, now I'm in the dark. Oh, 'cause you ran away and took my life, and so ripped me to pieces, just let it all go. My heart was on fire, but you let me burn. You got me wired, now there's no return. No, you took my heart, you took my soul, rip me to pieces, let it all go. My heart was on fire, but you let me burn. You got me wired, now there's no return. No, you took my heart, you took my soul, rip me to pieces, let it all go.
Hello everyone. Welcome to another EVGA live. What do we call this? Weekly live. That's what it is. Today we have a very special guest with us. This is Andy Mills from Enmotus. Is that how you say it?
Enmotus.
Enmotus.
Yeah.
So if you guys aren't familiar with Enmotus, you sell a product called the Fuse Drive, right?
Yep. It's a SSD hard drive virtualization kind of a software play, AI, kind of AI storage, the beginnings of.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this actually you can get for free today with select EVGA motherboards. We'll talk about that in a bit. But before I get to that, I did want to mention that we do have a giveaway today, guys. We're going to give away this bad boy right here. the EVGA X299 Dark motherboard. We're going to give this away to one of you guys. But not only that, we're going to give away 5 Enmotus fuse drives as well. Codes in the Pro version, right? Is that
yeah, kind of the plus or the plus
version. That's right. Yeah.
Yep.
So the way that you guys can win this, we will have a secret word later on in the stream, and we will tell you that secret word later on in the stream. You go to a page, I'll tell you where, put that secret word in, and then you can win, just like that. 1, 2, 3. And we can't win, but you guys can win.
Oh,
it's just that easy.
All right.
So, first of all, thanks for coming on our show. Very excited to have you here. But I did want to talk about your company. So you are the CEO,
co-founder,
coder, right?
Yep, coder,
so like
architect,
everything.
You name it. Yeah, I do.
You wear a lot of hats.
I clean cars and wash bottles on occasion too. Yeah. So, yep. No, good, cool. No, we do a lot of things. Enmotus is kind of a 8-year-old company.
Okay.
Enmotus means enabling motion. MOTUS is kind of Latin for motion.
Okay. Cool.
And it also means to be disturbed. So you're basically enabling people to be disturbed.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another
all right.
Kind of deal. Anyway, no, we've been going on for 8 years, and we kind of, the team came out of a lot of the storage industry. We did a lot of stuff in the past to do with RAID, RAID stacks and stuff like that. Yep. So this is a natural kind of evolution of what we've been doing. We have this cool product that enables you to take a small, large SSD, combine it with your hard drive, and create a virtual SSD that basically performs like an SSD, but gives you the capacity of a hard drive.
So basically, with the fuse drive software, you can take like a large 2 terabyte mechanical drive, plus a super fast SSD, and then basically your software will combine those two together. So essentially you have one drive, but still give you the performance of essentially the SSD.
Yeah. Right? The problem and why we started doing this was early on in the company cycle, you realize SSDs were expensive. They're cool. Everyone wanted one. I wanted one in my machine, but it was just too expensive. So 128 gig, we figured out a way to use that 128 gig for just the stuff you need to use it for. Yeah. So it turned out to be a much more cost-effective way to take a 4 terabyte, 2 terabyte hard drive, combine it with that SSD, and then basically have it behave like an SSD, but not use caching. Some old people technology uses caching.
Somebody said like SSD cache, but it's not actually
it's not cache. No, we came out of the enterprise side of the industry, which in servers means you use a different technique. It's called tiering. It's called virtualization, but it performs up to SSD speeds. That's the difference in this technology, and you can actually combine the capacity. If you have a 1 terabyte SSD and a 2 terabyte hard drive, you get 3 terabytes of usable storage, and it eliminates problems like these big downloads, these game downloads, right? You get, I don't know how many you've downloaded lately, but 50, 60.
We talk about that all the time, that the games are getting bigger and bigger, right? And like for our stream here, we want to have like a pretty wide variety of games to be able to play or check out, and I'm always uninstalling games on this machine because I have limited space. With the fuse drive software, I could get a mechanical drive and still get.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it. It's one big C drive. I mean, we've all got used to buying that C drive, D drive concept for a while. It was the only way to do it. Now you can have one big C drive. And the nice thing is we've got a couple of Twitch TV guys using it. We've got a couple of regular gamers. We've got good 30, 40,000 users now really plugging away on this in the gaming space. I see somebody's asking, is it like an SSHD? Not really, no. Those guys, again, use a caching technique and very small amounts of SSD. We allow you to bring your whole SSD to the forefront. Use it as though you're running everything off the SSD. Right, so if you're running a game that's this big and you're only accessing this little bit here, we'll make sure this little bit here is on the SSD and you're reading and write to it just as though you're on that SSD.
Yeah, and actually we did a test with it. You guys can find it on our YouTube channel where we basically did a side-by-side comparison with a mechanical versus a drive or a setup that's using the fuse drive technology, and the performance is definitely there. It's a big performance difference for sure.
It works, and somebody's already brought it up. Yes, it is the Store MI technology. So we are the guys behind that for AMD. And of course, what we're doing here within the EVGA stuff now is offering that on a broader platform, such as the Intel 390.
Yeah. So in case you guys missed it, across most of the current EVGA motherboards, Z390, Z370, all the X299 motherboards, you can get a free copy of Fuse Drive. If you buy an EVGA motherboard, you get the Fuse Drive Plus version. Right?
Yes.
A $59 value. You can get it for free with an EVGA motherboard. Somebody asked about giveaway. So we do have a giveaway today. We're giving away one of these, in case you missed it, an EVGA X299 dark motherboard, and we're giving away 5 of the Fuse Drive Plus software. Somebody said, "Can I win that instead of CLC?" Well, you're in luck. We're giving away 5 of those.
Go ahead. And there's a question on, can I use it for my 8 terabyte? We've got it running with 12 terabyte drives. 12 terabytes plus a 1 terabyte or half a terabyte SSD is a great combination. And you got all the space you need for all the games you want.
Yep.
And it works pretty cool. Yep.
Cool. So I guess we can just jump to our browser here. So we talked about this. Buy an EVGA motherboard. You get the Fuse drive for free. Install it on your system. And this is actually some of the performance that you can see, this graph here.
Oh, yeah.
So you can see a traditional hard drive versus a Fuse drive enabled hard drive plus M.2. And like you said, the cool thing that I think for a lot of people is, let's say you have 2 storage drives. Yep. Now, when you use the Fuse drive technology, now you have essentially like 1 drive, right?
That's
so
right.
you have a C drive.
That's right.
And your technology does all of the algorithms to optimize
we developed like a machine intelligence layer. It's really thin. In fact, if you could measure it, we estimate around sub-microsecond. That's 1 microsecond translation between this virtual disk drive called the Fuse drive and our underlying technology. But that's why we're able to get, if you look on this graph here, application startups, this is kind of PC Mark 10 benchmarks here, and then boot to shoot on the far right is probably the most common. What you see is what you get with this. This is what we really like about it. There's a lot of benchmarks and specs around the place, so we always kind of show these just to see what it looks like from just standing back looking at it. But if you actually put this on your machine and start playing with it, it operates like an SSD, but the size of a hard drive. Right. You really do get that combination. I have it on my home machine. I'm a World of Warcraft fan. I play it all the time. And you do see, after you've loaded it once, it has to learn sometimes. Though it works a little bit in the way that if you have it already stored, the game is on the hard drive portion, you play it, it's going to run, it's going to have to move it up, to kind of take advantage of it. So the second time you run it, it's going to run like an SSD.
Mr. Something Basic said, "I need it, but I'm poor." Well, you're in luck because we're going to give away 5 of them. So
there you go.
Never know.
There, we solved that problem.
Yeah, I saw a couple of people mention how to enter. So basically, we'll have a secret word later on in the podcast, live stream, podcast, whatever we get. This is called live stream. Let's stick with that.
Right.
And we will tell you that secret word. You go to a page, you put in that secret word, and you can win. Somebody asked about hardware. Does it work with disk encryption?
Yes. Yeah. BitLocker, all that kind of stuff. We tested with that, and it's basically operates. It looks like a disk drive to the operating system. So anything you would have a disk drive do, it will do just the same thing. It's actually built into the kernel driver layers of the system. So it's so low in the stack, it looks like a disk drive.
So you said Enmotus was 8 years ago was the company was founded?
Yeah, we started out more in the server world. This comes out of server class technology. In fact, most of the team come out of that world. But yeah, somebody asked, I saw earlier about reliability. Does it add any more reliability? In the client version here, typically no. It's the same as having an SSD hard drive or a single drive in your system. So if that drive fails, you're going to lose it just like you would in a regular system. So we do nothing to help you there. Generally, if you want to recover it, and stuff like that, then you get all the usual tools like Macrium. I saw Macrium Reflect coming up. Yes, we use that Macrium Reflect all the time, and it basically works just fine. The only time it doesn't is if they're trying to use a low-level kind of copying tool. But Macrium Reflect is one we use all the time. For example, we make full image backups. We always recommend people do that because you are stressing your system to the limit there, and so it's good to make sure you can get back quickly in case anything like a hard drive fails or the SSD fails. Yeah.
So the other thing I wanted to ask was, so we talked about combining an SSD or an M.2 with, or an NVMe with a mechanical drive. But if you use 2 SSDs, do you see a benefit with that?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we got more and more users taking an NVMe drive, 128 gig, for example, a 256 getting really cheap now, and combining that with their old half a terabyte or even 256 gig.
Yeah, because the SSDs from maybe 5 years ago are nothing.
That's right.
Compared to the especially NVMe drives today are not even close in terms of performance.
What's nice about what we've built into this technology, and which is kind of tough to do, by the way, is we allow you to take your existing SSD or hard drive and add another SSD to it. So if you just got an SSD that's running out of space, you can add your hard drive to it to add capacity, or you can add an NVMe drive to it to take that SSD boot drive and speed it up and double its size as well. So you don't, cache, usually you have to have a ratio. In caching, you have to like 10% or 20% for the cache, and the rest is your original hard drive. Here, everything we add on becomes usable capacity. That's the nice thing.
Right.
And then all the stuff you're using works its way onto the faster, newer
So
device.
how is it determining what to accelerate? I mean, is that all just kind of running in the background, determining what you're using most frequently, or how?
Yep. I mean, someone's asking, is it one partition? Yep, it's all one partition. It's one C drive, and what it does under the hood, it's checking to see where you're using this thing. So again, if I pick a big slab of data here and I'm just accessing this and then this, it's going to watch very carefully and within seconds move that stuff or put the SSD underneath where that data is operating. So think of it as a relocation kind of, it's a migration program that's happening very fast in real time underneath the hood.
Wow, that's cool. All right, guys, in case you missed it, we will have a giveaway later on in the show. We're going to give away an EVGA X299 Dark plus 5 fuse drive license keys, fuse drive plus. We'll have a secret word. We'll tell you what that is. Or if you buy an EVGA motherboard, you can get it for free with almost all of the EVGA motherboards. Somebody asked about Precision X1. So I did promise that Precision X1 would be on the... let me take that back. I didn't promise. I said... should be out next week, we hope. I don't remember the exact wording, but I think it was. So we're still planning on releasing that actually today. So it will be the Precision X1 update that supports GTX cards. It is considered a beta version for right now. It's not 100% functional with all the ICX features. That's the one thing that you need to keep in mind with the Precision update. You promised on my grave. I don't know. Somebody go back and clip that. I don't think that might not be what I said. Maybe, I don't know.
You said it.
Is there any release date for the Z390 Dark? That's the most popular question. Z390 Dark, we're planning to ship probably mid to late December. That's what it looks like right now. I know a lot of people are really excited about that motherboard. We were talking about it earlier. You said you knew some people who were asking about Z390 Dark motherboard, right?
It sounds like a cool board.
Yeah.
Cool board, actually. In fact, it stopped me from buying my next one. I want to see what it looks like.
Okay. Yeah. See, that's so.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool actually.
Yeah.
And I assume it gets a free fuse drive with it. Right?
Yeah, it'll be part of it as well. So once we launch that, you'll get a free fuse drive as well when you buy the EVGA Z390 Dark motherboard. So. We're really excited about that platform. You know, we want changing the locations of the 8 pins, rotating the CPU socket is something that we've talked about for a long time, and it's finally here. We finally did it, so we're pretty excited. And it has a world record. So that motherboard was built to be the best overclocking motherboard. In fact, it has a world record today on Cinebench, an 8-core CPU world record. So.
We've had it in our lab. Had some good fun with it.
Yeah.
Actually, it really does. It does deliver. We're really happy with it. Yeah.
So, pricing. Haven't finalized the pricing yet on that. All right. So, before we do the secret word, we have a few other updates that I just want to mention. So, I should have brought one here. Carbon fiber shroud, carbon trim kit. We have these available now for the 2080 Ti FTW3. This is actually real carbon. Real carbon fiber. It's not fake carbon. It's real carbon fiber. So it's purely a cosmetic piece, but it gives the card a nice look. I like it. I like this one, especially the carbon shroud. I think it looks pretty sweet.
Does it stop your fingers getting caught when you got your finger in the machine too?
Not really.
Okay.
So don't put your fingers in the machine.
Don't put your fingers near the fan. Yeah.
But you can also win one. So we're giving away, if you own a 2080 Ti FTW3, or really actually any FTW3, 2080 or 2080 Ti, you can qualify to win either of these. We're giving away 10 and 10. So check it out at evga.com.
That's a cool looking graphics board.
Jacob is looking more healthy, really. That's good news, I guess. All right, so that is the carbon shroud and carbon trim kit. So the trim kit, actually, if you guys don't know, it sits like right underneath the shroud, so it's right there. So it gives it just a different look. Obviously, we have a few different options as well. We have red ones, white ones that you can swap out on your card as well. 2080 Ti hybrid, is that going to be a thing? Yes, it will be a thing, I promise. All right, the reindeer rescue. This is going on now. So basically, it's a social media event. So like us, and you can win. That doesn't get much easier than that. All you got to do is like us, and you guys probably like us already. At least I hope you do. And if you don't, I'm very sorry, but I hope you do. So basically, like us on any of our social media platforms, and you can win a ton of stuff. You can win motherboards, keyboards, an H370 Stinger, which also comes with a free copy of Fuse Drive.
Yep. Nice. I like that one.
And the X299 Dark, which you could win today. And so actually, the person who wins today, the X299 Dark, they get like double the prizes because they'll also get a free copy of the Fuse Drive as well.
Nice. Nice.
So
nice. And they can buy a nice EVGA power supply to go with that, right?
Yep. Because you definitely, if you're running an X299 Dark, you probably have some pretty beefy CPUs and graphics. I mean, our system here, by the way, we finally figured out, so this is actually, you see this like a cover thing here? Whoops, wrong. So we finally figured out how, so for the longest time, our system here, there was like some crazy reflection going on in this, on the card itself.
Oh, really?
And we spent like 20 minutes trying to figure out which light was causing it, but eventually our solution was to just cover the entire rig and make it look better. So
so that's what the big card is.
Yeah, that's what that big.
I thought there was a super prize on.
You guys can't see what that is on the camera, but we finally fixed our.
Nice. It was the big lights on there.
Yeah, you know, it's like a light is reflecting or bouncing off of something. It's, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the ray tracing, guys. I don't know.
Yeah, nice.
So,
nice.
So that is the social media event. Also, 12 days of Christmas event. So this just kicked off today. So basically, what's going to happen is for the next 12 days, we will have a different deal every day. Today, we're giving $80 off the 2080 XC2 Ultra. Tomorrow will be this one, and so forth and so forth. So if you're looking for a deal on any of these products, make sure to check out the 12 Days of Christmas promotion that's going on now. And the last thing that I wanted to mention, guys, we talked about this last week a little bit, and we're getting closer. So the 12-hour stream is going to go live next week, starting at 7 a.m. So basically, we're going to be streaming for 12 hours from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m.
Nice. That's for good cause, too. The St. Jude's
yes, so
research.
We're going to be taking donations for St. Jude, and we also will be matching up to $10,000 in donations, all to St. Jude. We're calling it the EVGA GG, Game and Give. So make sure to check that out. We're going to have guests. We're going to have gaming. We're going to have, I don't know, I'm not sure if I can do the hot pepper thing again, but you know what? If it's for a good cause, I'll do it again. I'll make the sacrifice.
Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Get him doing it. Get him doing it.
So yeah, next week, Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. There's going to be plenty of giveaways as well. So you guys want to make sure to check it out. Stop by, say hi. Yeah, so it should be fun.
They want someone guess here wants to make me eat Reaper Dogs.
The Reaper Dogs, yeah. So the Reaper Dogs is. If you go to 7-Eleven, there's a hot dog called the Reaper Dog, which apparently is like a ghost or a Carolina Reaper hot dog. Oh. But I had it in
Crunch Dog. Is that Crunch Dog? You think?
Crunch Dog is. I thought I actually invented that, but it turns out I didn't really invent it because someone in the chat invented it. Actually, I think it was EMNIAG. So basically, it's a hot dog with chips in it.
Ah, right, right.
We ate that at PAX, so.
Gotcha.
So because of you guys, I am not very healthy anymore. Although somebody said I looked healthier today. So,
he does. No, I think he looks fine.
Yeah,
he looks fine. A couple more.
Yeah, a few more Crunch Dogs. That's the trick.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys ready for the secret word? So here's the secret word. Go to evga.com/live giveaway. Let me put it in the chat here. Oops. Why does my keyboard not work? Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
evga.com/live giveaway. Secret word is Fuse Drive, all one word. FUZEDRIVE. Fuse Drive, all one word. Put that in as a secret word. We're going to give away a lot of good stuff. We're going to give away an X299 Dark motherboard plus 5 copies of Fuse Drive. software as well to go along with that. So you mentioned that you are founder, the founder, but not only, but also the some level of coding, correct?
Well,
right?
listen, there's a great team behind this,
Yeah.
putting this whole thing together. It's not just a one-man show. It takes probably a good 14 of us, overall, to put the actual technology together. So shout out to the guys at Enmotus, by the way, for that. I think yeah, but I wrote a lot of the stuff to do with the tiering engine, the fuse drive stuff that operates down in the kernel layer. But no, we're all hands-on in the company. Everybody does something in the company. Definitely.
So for the fuse drive software, is it constantly is it using CPU resources, or is it using any system resources?
But very little, very little.
Yeah.
Actually, we tend to use a little bit more memory. So for like on my rig at home, I have like 6 terabytes, and I use an extra 73 megabytes of the system RAM. So not a lot, but we translate. We do a translation thing using memory, and that's what gives us the edge over caching. The caching tends to use a lot of CPU cycles, because every time an I/O trundles in.
So you said 63 megabytes. So
no,
that's
73 megabytes. That's all.
70. Yeah, that's not very much.
Not a lot. No, I mean I have 16 gigs in my system. So, but you can run this on a let's see, a 4 gig system. Really easily. You could probably drive it down. Somebody asked about Linux before. We don't offer a Linux bootable system. We do Linux in the server side, so we certainly support Linux. It's just been a little bit more challenging for us on the consumer side, but there's a couple of things we keep looking at what we're going to do. Eventually, that may be one of them. And the other one is striping and all that kind of stuff, where we can take 2 or 3 NVMe drives, boot off that as the fast tier, and then put a big slow tier.
Yeah, that'd be pretty neat. And then you still have one drive for everything.
And the reason we can go so fast, by the way, on the server side, we've clocked this thing up to 2 million IOs per second with one of our other partners. So this thing really cranks with some memory class technology. So I think what you're gonna see us do is take SSD hard drive. We're now already seeing fast SSD, slow SSD. We're going to start using RAM a lot more, more than just a cache. Today we have like a little RAM cache in there, but Windows is getting pretty good at doing RAM cache. You don't really need that per se. It was better for Windows 7 days, but Windows 10 is better. But now as you go to like this RAM tier kind of level and all the other stuff we plan on doing, I think it's going to be some pretty cool stuff we're going to have early next year.
Cool. So if you guys have any questions in the chat, please put them in there and we'll try to answer them if we can. So we were talking earlier, you've been in this industry for a really long time.
Yeah. Thank you. Do I look it?
You're looking good though, but
I still,
we're talking about, code processors and stuff like that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, chips. Well, I did.
Most of you guys probably don't even know, never even heard of that word before.
I worked at AMD in my early career in the 90s, going back when the 286 was still a thing.
Yeah.
Going to 386,
I
going to 486.
I had a 386, I think it was 20 megahertz.
20 meg. That's right. That was fast.
Yeah, I know.
And then we had coprocessors, right? You had the 387, which used to plug in now. Everyone takes for granted. We used to have a lot more pieces. And the motherboard, what I love about these motherboards, they look so nice, right? But in those days, it was just a collection of chips and stuff thrown on the board. And
motherboards in those days weren't pretty, guys.
No, they weren't. And disk drives were even worse. You had to put little jumpers on your disk drive to tell if it's a master or a slave.
Yeah, master slave.
Remember that one?
Gosh.
And you had to look up, and you didn't have the web as easily. They didn't like to publish that data. So
I don't miss those days, honestly.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, someone's bringing up RAID. I mean,
there's a lot of things like. You look back in history and you're like, oh, that was like the cars, especially like muscle cars of the 60s or whatever. But like PCs in the 90s, nobody really looks fondly at those.
It was a hobby. I go through my old garage occasionally, clean out. There's a couple of old 486, 386 motherboards, and I can't even tell what they are anymore.
Yeah,
they're there for the museum that we're going to set up one day.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So when you set up, so let's say I'm a new user who is setting up a new system. Is there like what is kind of like the best setup, I guess? Is it like a really fast M.2 drive plus like a slower hard drive, or is there like some?
Yeah, nowadays, the interesting thing is everyone feels like they have to put something fast on the back end. You don't anymore. The point is you can put everything on the fast. We put everything on the fast tier. We call it tier, right? A tier of storage is fast. So NVMe is a very common solution today. Windows itself probably only needs about 16, 32 gigs, but once you go to games, you really want 128, 256, or up to half a terabyte combined with a 4 terabyte disk drive seems to be a really good option nowadays. So an NVMe drive plus a 4 terabyte.
Yeah.
And you don't need to go 7,200 RPM on
Really?
the drives. You can go 5,400
Wow.
RPM. We've done benchmarks in PC Mark 10.
Yeah.
In some cases, we've seen 5,400 RPM drives as the slow tier. The overall thing operates slightly faster. We don't know why.
Really?
Go
So-
figure, right? But
So it doesn't.
yeah.
So I can get a 5400 RPM drive, and I really won't see.
you won't see any benefit
Any
in
benefit.
that. Only unless you've got a lot of stuff. You've got a really tiny SSD. I mean,
Yeah.
we work with Optane, right? So you can stick an Optane 16 gig stick in here and put a large hard drive. That's really small though, it's 16 gigs. So you're going to see a lot more movement back and forth. You want to minimize that. So we recommend 128, maybe going up to 256, because they're what, $39, $40 now. They're getting pretty
They're
cheap.
pretty cheap, yeah.
And-
But the large size SSDs are still.
They're pretty good.
They're still pretty expensive,
And
But,
we did something interesting that's kind of not tackled very often in the industry. We allowed you to take a running, Windows 10 installation, install the software, add a blank SSD, and then we convert it. We convert it over. So you don't. The nice thing about this technology, you don't have to go into RAID. You don't have to go RAID mode.
So
you
you
have
don't
to go into
lose
the
all your
BIOS.
data. You don't have to reformat Windows.
You don't have to go
or
into the BIOS and set anything up. Usually UEFI is a good mode to be in, we find, but we even support the older MBR in some cases boot drives. So if you've got an old boot drive that you want to kind of give some new life to, you can do it that way. Most people tend to do it as a new install. So we recommend you go install it to your hard drive or your SSD as normal. Install our software, add whichever drive either the SSD or the hard drive, whichever one you're going to add, put that on, and we give a little utility, and it takes about 2 minutes. That's all to
wow,
convert your
that's
machine.
it?
That's
Huh.
all. And then you reboot, and then it starts to heat things up, or if you're already on the fast tier, the thing we keep telling people, there's a nice cheat you can do with this thing. If you start with an NVMe, put everything on the NVMe drive as your OS, and then add your hard drive, everything's already on the OS, on the SSD. So it's going to run like an SSD until
Right.
you've filled up that SSD and you start spilling to the hard drive. So we're sitting there doing nothing pretty much until you start to get beyond the size of the SSD.
Okay.
Which is kind of nice, So think of it as a spillover, right? But you've got up to 4 terabytes of cheap spillover, so that's why you don't need a high performance hard drive. It works really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and 4 terabytes, 8 terabytes, getting really cheap now to buy those drives, under $100. So
For the mechanical drives, yeah.
yeah, I tell people. I mean, for a laptop, you can kind of pull off a laptop 2 terabytes worth of bootable fuse drive for under $100 now in some respects, or under $120 maybe, depending on whether you're using the really cheap 2 terabyte hard drives, the 5400 RPM. You don't need an SSHD. Like the FireCuda. You can use FireCuda, we don't really care, or something like that on the back end, or a WD, Western Digital drive. We don't really care so much about the performance. That it's really the NVMe drive that we're focused on.
So if you plan on setting up a system that's using fuse drive, invest in a faster NVMe drive. That'll give you better overall performance. And the hard drive, mechanical drive,
You don't care as much. You want something reliable. You want something that's not too old, of course.
don't use the hard drive that I was using in my 386. I think that was like 20 megabytes or something.
And we have a funny story there in our lab. One of our techs was the first to see a hard drive go on fire in our lab. So you can sometimes see disk drives. Got nothing to do with us. We were not in the system at the time, but you certainly get a lot of interesting things with hard drives as they get old. And this was a really old one. So. They're so cheap nowadays. You can get a pretty good 4 terabyte drive for under $100.
Somebody asked this. Sorry if you answered this already. Somebody asked, does it work with only 2 drives, or can you have more than?
Today it's a 2 drive. Yeah, for the
Okay.
basic client version, it's really focused on a single SSD hard drive, and then you can put whatever other drives you want in the system. In the future, we already know how to stripe and put multiple together. In fact, our server-based product, and we're looking at ways to bring this down, can support up to 16 drives in a single tier. So you can certainly start to do that, but we didn't want to just come out with another RAID solution. RAID's kind of tough, by the way, to get going, but I think if you basically look at it, we wanted to focus on the main market first. The guy's doing, I don't know how many people on stream here are doing 2 NVMe striped in a RAID 0.
Well, like the thing is, like not even a lot of motherboards support, NVMe RAID. So
That's right,
Yeah.
and that's the classic. So we'll be supporting in future a form of RAID for the NVMe, so you don't need a RAID stack. That's kind of what we're going to be focused on next year. So it'll give people the ability to kind of, you know, pull together several drives in the slow tier, several drives in the fast tier, and pull load together into one big C drive.
Yeah.
That's kind of our vision and goal where we want to go here.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I need to install it on my laptop that I have over there that has 2 drives, and one of my drives is always filling up, so I definitely need to install a fuse drive on that one. I'll see it.
Yeah. We see that, people running out of space. I mean, what's the biggest frustration you have? You get a nice rig, 256 gig SSD, and you're set, right, with a 2 terabyte drive, D drive. Then you start downloading those games, and after you've downloaded Final Fantasy at 102 gigs or 105, whatever it is, and then a couple of Blizzard games, you got all those guys coming down. You filled that drive up all of a sudden. You're now having to move stuff off. Well, you get rid of that. That problem's gone in our environment here with fuse drive.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's tricky to move games off of like SSDs. A lot of times, I think Steam maybe supports it, but I know like a lot of clients, they don't like multiple drives, or moving them from one drive to another drive sometimes breaks the game. And I mean, there's all these kind of registry lists that's pointing to there, and you know, it's just...
Well, Steam, you know, we work well with Steam, actually. I've got Steam on, of course, on my home rig system, and we find that actually speeds up a little bit of the Steam scanning process at the beginning too. So your boot process, Steam gets a little faster too, which is nice. So the stuff it scans on all your popular games, so that'll get tiers.
Also, like when you, I think before you even install a Steam game, it's like, okay, it's gonna check if you even have the hard drive space. So that like takes some time. So
someone was asking, can we support some of the older motherboards? Well, we're here to talk about the newest ones, of course, here today. But one of the reasons we don't support a lot of the old motherboards, just to be clear, is EFI standard was not necessarily NVMe friendly. So we had to choose. We had to cut off at a point where the EFI standard was modern enough that it would handle NVMe and boot. Because what we were finding in the older versions, people would boot and it wouldn't come back because the NVMe BIOS thing was not cooperating. So we decided to kind of make sure it was a fair, like a Z170 generation.
Okay, so basically Z170 on the Intel side, Z170 or later.
Tends to be, I believe it's that one. You'd have to check our website. The guys know better the exact model numbers than I do. But we did that, and of course on the AMD side too. But I think we find the 390, stuff like the 390 goes so well with that stuff. I mean, it's just these new motherboards, because we all use a small amount of CPU, and you get a big, fat, nice, juicy CPU in there, and this thing's a screamer. You know, we take very little. That's why we can work in games. We take very little CPU overhead to do what we do. That's the nice thing about it.
Cool. All right, so in case you guys missed it, evga.com/live giveaway. The secret word is fuse drive, FUZEDRIVE. So where'd the name fuse drive come from?
Someone wants to give you a free SSD with a fuse drive now, but they don't get it because they spelled fuse drive wrong. So an S instead of a Z. Yeah, sorry, where does the name fuse drive come from? Well, fuse, if you look it up in the dictionary, is like fusing stuff together, but it can also be kind of an explosion. But yeah, I think we view it as pushing the two drives together.
Fusing the 2 drives together.
Simple as that. Yep.
All right, so we'll give you some time to put that in case you missed it. We're giving away an X299 Dark motherboard and 5 copies of the Fuse Drive Plus software. And also, if you're just joining, next week, Friday, 7 a.m., we're going to have a 12-hour stream. So from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m., you get to watch me. And so hopefully you like that. If not, well, I'm sorry. Now you get 12 hours of it. No, I'm just kidding. But actually, we're planning to kind of have shifts and different people on the show, so it should be a lot of fun. We're going to play games. We're going to have tons of giveaways, and we're raising money for the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. That's cool. So always a good cause. EVGA will match up to $10,000. So make sure to check it out and donate if you can. And who knows, you just might win something. We have plenty of stuff to give away and announcements then. So 12 hours of us.
Hey, they want you to put a fuse drive on your machine next time to demonstrate it. So.
Yes,
all right.
I need to. We were talking about that because on this system here we have a single super fast Intel drive. But if I threw another, and I'm always like, we're always putting new games on here because we're always showcasing. I'm always deleting games all the time. You know, in fact, I just deleted. We had Just Cause 4 on here. I had to remove it because we were running out of space, and I would love to keep Just Cause 4 on here, but next week when we want to play it, we got to install it again. So
just put on, get a 4 terabyte hard drive. They're pretty cheap now. Stick it on the back end. You can keep everything. You don't have to reformat.
Yeah. So even this drive is like 400 gigs, but today that's like.
Well, that's little. I mean,
that's like 4 games.
I mean, come on.
That's like 4 games.
I'm going to show my age now. I remember the Commodore VIC 20 had like 64, no, it's 32K of RAM. Something like that. And no hard drive. They didn't even have hard drives then. No, you need to have something bigger on that rig, definitely.
We for sure do. So I think before next week, because next week we're going to have our 12-hour stream and we're going to have a lot of different games, and we definitely need to have some solution on this machine. So we'll get that going before next week. And I think we can show off how it works also. So in the software, when you install the fuse drive, do you have options and things like that, like settings, or?
There's a few basic ones.
Automated? It's
pretty automated. Yeah. I mean, it's designed to be set and forget. You put it in and just let it do its thing. You can shut, obviously, things on or off.
Yeah.
We've had to adapt it a little bit. There's a new patch coming out soon for our software, a new rev, which will also auto-adapt to heavy traffic. What we found under heavy traffic, and we were trying to move stuff in the background, your system sometimes would slow down. So you look at some of the reviews, for example, the very early version we put out there, the games would slow down on the first run. That's not good. Slowing the hard drive just for the first one while it's learning. And we said that's not acceptable. So the new one we're about to release here will get rid of that and basically.
So how does that work exactly? Because how does it know that you're going to load this game, or?
Well, it looks at what you touched. It looks what the application touched.
Okay.
You know, so we
okay.
So basically the application, as soon as you double click on that
World of Warcraft, so when you load World of Warcraft, it already knows kind of the files that are associated with.
It watches. Yeah, it has it's like a very very fast watching algorithm. It just looks at it and goes, this and this has been touched, and it's not files. It's right down at the what we call the block layer. Right, mm-hmm. The files are what you see on your system on the C drive. Block layers are the bits and 512 bytes, 4K or whatever, you know, the actual protocol uses to the disk drives. We watch at that level. And what we do is we generate what they call in the industry a heat map.
Yeah.
It's a heat map of your drive. Think of it that way. So you'll get hot spots here or there, and we'll make sure the SSD gets relocated underneath that hot spot.
Right.
Think of it that way. A lot of people like to think you're taking and copying it elsewhere. We like to think of it, no, we're taking a slice of the SSD, putting it under that hot spot.
Okay.
So that's how it learns. And the issue we talked about when we first went out with this software for gamers especially was, dang, you know, I just transformed my boot drive, which was a hard drive. Then I ran this game. It's going slower. You say, well, hang on, give it a chance. It's got to learn, right? Now, because what you've done is you've rebooted your machine. It's just learned all the operating system, because we accelerate everything that gets touched, including the operating system files. Right? So it's not just about the games themselves. It's the operating system files and the games. Then you run the game, and everything's trying to learn and move and get load balanced. So we put a throttle mechanism that basically detects, oh, hang on, you're a little busy right now. We'll let you boot up, and then you can run your game. And then as you're playing it in the background, because games go very quiet on the disk drive while you're playing with them, you know, they load into RAM a lot.
Yeah.
So while we take advantage of that time to then move all the stuff and load balance it, so the second time you come in, you're like an SSD. It snaps in like an SSD. Yeah. And it doesn't take long. A couple of minutes to, you know, maybe tens of minutes depending on the size of the game.
Cool. All right, guys, one more time. EVGA.com/live giveaway. The secret word is fuse drive. And while you guys are putting that in, we do have a game to play here for a little bit. So, in case you guys missed it, Battlefield 5, there was a new patch release for Battlefield 5 that drastically improved the performance of the DXR. So DXR is the ray tracing that is a new feature of all the RTX cards. And the performance increase is pretty significant overall. We did some testing. We're planning to upload a video later, but it's pretty much up to about 50% performance increase that you can see. So I figured, why not? We'll play a little bit of Battlefield 5 with a new patch, new update, and see what the performance looks like. 4K is still, I mean, in our test, we're running 4K at 75% scaling, so it's maybe a little, I think that's probably a little bit above 1440p. But the key thing is we're able to run the highest setting of the DXR reflections. Now we can run at the ultra setting, which gives you better visuals overall.
Still loading.
Yep.
I think we answered the question before. Somebody's asking about RAID. No, we don't support RAID today, but we're starting to work on it. So.
Where do we put the keyword? Go to evga.com/live giveaway. All right.
Nice graphics. Looks good.
It's a very nice looking game overall, I'd say.
I've done a little bit of Battlefield 4, but this looks substantially better.
Hold on. Maybe I need to re-log into my Origin. Hold on a second, guys. So let's restart this again. So you mentioned that you play a lot of World of Warcraft from like day one, right?
Oh my goodness, I'm one of the early ones. I keep getting those little awards for saying thank you for being a World of Warcraft customer since time began. So yeah, I have my my Druid. I've been an avid Druid player for many years on BlackRock.
So we're trying to figure out, when did World of Warcraft, can any of you guys tell us how long ago? We were saying
when
like
did it
10,
start?
10
Like,
15 years ago, right?
No, it's got to be like 15 years. No, 20? No, it's not 20. Surely not.
It's not 20, but it,
well,
I don't know.
StarCraft, then Warcraft
It's
1, 2,
definitely
3.
at least 10,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I think it's got to be. No, it's more than 10. It's got to be more than 10. It's got to be 15, at least. Got to be 15. I think it must have been between 2003, because they had EverQuest kind of came out around the 2003 2004 for the fans out there. Then Warcraft was like 90. Someone was saying about 94. It wasn't. Warcraft might have been, but not World of Warcraft, right?
Yeah, Warcraft was 94, definitely.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft 2004, somebody said.
Yeah, that's about right. I think WoW was 2004. That's about
2004.
right.
2004. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm guessing there's gonna be a lot of mixed emotions about me being a druid. I like to build, change shape, and do all that kind of stuff, but it's I kind of have fun. I have a mage as well, but you know, I'm still practicing. Horde. For the Horde.
Somebody asked if I'm going to play Anthem. If I get into the beta, we certainly will. But I think it's closed beta. Is it closed beta? I'm not sure if we're allowed to stream that or not.
Not sure. Look, hey, for the Horde, I got some of my brethren on here. I'm on BlackRock, guys. BlackRock.
So let's see if we can get
Druids
into
are epic. You play the god class, so I like it.
Closed alpha.
Yeah. Yeah, not many flies. BlackRock's kind of gone down for a while. I just haven't been on. I had, running a company, you get little time to play as much as you'd like to. But
all right, we got our game running here, so I'm just gonna pick some random map. Let's see if we can. I forgot to put precision on, so let's see if we can get our.
I like World of Warcraft Classic. Someone's asking. I'm sorry, getting distracted here.
Yep. So World of Warcraft Classic, that is.
Well, you went through
That was
Cataclysm.
new,
You went
right?
through the Cataclysm kind of thing where they split it, but the classic game was kind of good. You know, Chuck Norris was a really good. It came up a lot for the guys who know Chuck Norris. It used to come up in the Barrens. So yeah, cool. No, I like the new one. The new patch seems pretty cool though. I'm at 120 now and starting to try to do the world quest. So.
Somebody said RTX on. Of course. How could we run it with RTX on?
Yeah.
So I'll show you the settings that we're running at. So this is with the new patch, guys. The new patch makes a pretty significant performance improvement with DXR enabling. So now we can run it at the DXR Ultra setting, which you could before, but the performance was pretty severely impacted previously. So let's hopefully I don't die here. Let's see. I'll show you what we're running here. So we're running. So we have DXR on, 75% scaling at 4K, everything ultra. So you can see now, this was impossible to run at 60 frames per second previously on a single graphics card, especially at 4K. So now you can see it's,
What are you running at?
it's pretty much right around 60.
Yeah.
We could lower probably to about 70% and get a pretty solid 60. But, so look at all the reflections. Let's see if we can go into the. Ooh, I got one.
Someone's looking like looks like GPU encoding. I think that's right? The GPU's doing all the heavy lift here.
Yeah.
Encoding as opposed to
For
software.
sure, yeah. So over here is where we can see all the good reflections. Here's all the DXR goodness.
No, this is
in here.
2080. Is this
2080 Ti, yeah.
Yeah. Nice, much sharper.
So this is at the ultra setting. We pretty much couldn't run that before. I could probably lower this to about 70%.
Right.
And get a little bit better. But
Can actually what kind of depth and distance you got.
Objective dog is now ours, soldiers.
I'm dead. So I'm not very good at these games, but you know, we try.
You gotta.
Well, I got one though.
You got one. Yeah, exactly.
So that's all
You
that
di-
counts.
You died with honor.
As long as you get one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you play very many first-person shooters?
You know, I haven't gotten to the first person. I have, and I have to say I've played Fortnite. Who hasn't?
Yeah.
You know, but this one I think played a little bit just to get used to it. You know, I think Fallout 4. You start to get into more of those role-playing games more than that. So less so. I mean, Halo in the early days. Fear. Used to play a lot of Fear.
Fear, I love that game.
Love that game. We used to have our own private Fear server set up in the house.
I love the multiplayer.
Yeah.
Fear.
Yeah.
Deathmatch.
That was pretty cool, actually. Yeah, we had quite a lot of people. We used to set up our own server in the house and have people log in from all over the
I
world.
was a huge fan of Fear multiplayer.
Yeah.
You guys wouldn't believe it, but actually I was pretty good at Fear multiplayer. Fortunately, I don't know if I could prove it to you guys, because
No.
I don't know if the servers are even running anymore.
I don't think they are. Well, I don't know. Does anyone know if Fear is still running, or are they taking it down? I don't know. It's been a while. There's so many other good games now, though, right? It just we should play Ark. Somebody says.
Ark, yeah, that's a popular one for sure. I've never played Ark,
No, I haven't.
but I know a lot of people who like it. Let's see if we can...
Ark's the one that involved with ray tracing. Oh wow. Ray tracing is a cool.
Oh, I got him, man.
Yeah, cool. Ray tracing is cool. I remember the first ray tracing. I do go back a little bit with DSP algorithms now too. I used to work in the submarine, doing computer systems for submarine systems in my early days, back in England. But we used to do ray tracing stuff there. We used to kind of go through and look at how to do ray tracing algorithms. But they got really, really cool.
Somebody asked if we have Battlefield 5 servers. Not currently, as far as I'm aware. It's not open. There are no servers yet that we're able to use for Battlefield 5, but certainly if it is, then we will have it. But I believe we have, is it Battlefield 4? I know we have Counter-Strike in those servers. We have Battlefield 4. I'm doing better than usual today.
I'm doing pretty good,
I
actually.
think you've given me strength.
I'm here.
You being here.
I'm here. You know what we've done? We've tiered and elevated your
Yes.
ability to shoot better.
I guess that's what that must be what it is.
Maybe, maybe, right?
This is unlike me usually. Whoops.
That depends who else is on, right? Nice. This is pretty cool. I like this.
Yeah. So with the new, well,
So someone's asking about the giveaways at 4 o'clock. Is that at 4? Or?
yeah. So
Yeah. Okay. 4 o'clock and
my watch died.
Secret Wood
That's
is
the bad
fuse
thing
drive.
about having smart watches is, you know, sometimes you forget to charge them, and then you don't know what time it is
and
when
they
you
go
look at
dead.
it.
That's
So
not
somebody
good.
revived me.
That's a pretty smart watch.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So basically, we usually end our streams at around 4 p.m. Pacific time. So that's like in 10 minutes. So that's when we'll do the giveaway.
Yeah, and again, the Secret Wood is fuse drive,
Yep, fuse drive, all one word, F-U-Z-E-D-R-I-V-E.
not F-U-S.
Not
for sugar.
F-U-S.
F-U-Z.
F-U-Z-E.
For our international guys, F-U-Z.
Zed, yeah. The first time I heard that, I was like, "What? Zed? What's Zed?"
Oh, yeah,
You know,
it took-
because we work with press and stuff. It was international, and I remember the first time I heard somebody said Zed like Zed
That's right.
390, and I never heard that before.
Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah.
Zed, it wasn't 390, C390, but one
He's
of the
from
old
England.
motherboards.
See,
and I was like, "Whoa."
someone's figured me out already. He's from England.
Okay.
I actually grew up in Wales. Yeah.
Oh, I
Wales.
think somebody was mentioning that in the chat. They were curious to where your origins were.
Yeah. Actually, Australian born, raised in kind of mid-England, and then Wales, and then came to the States about 20-something years ago. Yeah.
We have lost objective Ace.
See, I recognize that flag.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is cool. I like the kind of. So this is in full 4K, right? 4K mode
Well,
or 2K?
it's 4K, but we're running a scale on it, so it lowers it down to somewhere closer to like 1440p,
Okay.
2560 by 1440. But I still prefer running at 4K for a couple of reasons as opposed to setting 1440p. So I prefer running it at 4K and setting a scale for a couple of reasons, because the UI will be still rendered at 4K, so the UI will look better.
Okay.
And the monitor's native resolution is 4K, so it'll look better on the monitor. So
You'd be pleased to know I do run an EVGA card home.
Nice.
Home in 4K mode. But
Yeah.
I'm only World of Warcraft. I'm not
Okay.
pushing the limit like these guys
Yeah,
do here.
4K World of Warcraft is no problem.
Yeah, easy.
Battlefield with DXR it's tough at 4K for sure. I mean, it's a very, very nice looking game. A lot of new tech in here.
South Victoria, guys. Just saying that for my Aussie friends there. Geelong.
So did you ever play any of the Battlefield games, like the older ones, or?
Yeah, 4 is kind of the first one. You know, we tried on 1 and 2 a little
Okay.
bit. I think it's Battlefield 2 we had running for a while in the house, but that was, yeah, that was okay. These are just so much better.
Let's see if I can hit him. Nope.
Bomb going out!
Yeah, that's cool. No, the other one was Overwatch. You know, got into Overwatch a little bit. We have some Twitch TV members in the family play Overwatch a lot. They do really, really well with that. And
Yeah, I would like to try to check out Overwatch again. I haven't played it in a long time, and I'm sure that a lot has changed and improved. It's been a while since I've checked out Overwatch.
right. Yes, you can play World of Warcraft in 4K.
You could probably play it in 8K.
I should be playing in 8K, but
Yeah.
I don't. I play on a fuse drive for over
Yeah.
2 years now, because we had early access to the technology, of course. But we've been playing with this stuff for years and trying to get it to the point where we make it better and easier to use. Not easy stuff. It's like graphics. It's not easy stuff to get right.
Especially on the storage side, you know. I mean, there's a lot.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot that's going on with the operating system, and you know. So.
Well, you know, that's kind of, most of us have worked on things like RAID in the past and things like that on enterprise side. So I think it gave us a good feel for you can't do this lightly. You know, you got to make sure what you do is solid. So we make sure when we move data around underneath the hood, it's protected in 2 places at once.
Yeah.
So it's both on the SSD and hard drive momentarily while we're moving it until we're satisfied it made it over there. Then we'll let it go on the other side. But so we don't just, you know, juggle stuff around and hope for the best. This is done with a very, very deterministic algorithm that can recover itself on a reboot. You know, and we get better with that. You know.
I mean, that's really important when you have, you know, data and stuff. So.
Yeah, you can. I mean, here you can drop a frame and people get a little bit knocked, but you're not going to stop what you're doing. You drop some bytes on a.
That's not good.
It's not good.
That's not good.
So you
don't
have
wanna,
to.
You don't want to do that.
That's why it takes so long to develop this stuff. It takes a long time to get it right. But you spend most of your time testing and testing. So again, shout out to the test guys in Enmotus. They really have to go through a lot of different things.
I imagine there is a lot of testing that has to go on to make sure that, you know, that you don't have issues like that with dropping bytes and stuff.
Well, that's right, and you know, we got some really good fans and users out there that love this stuff. They tell us what we need to hear. You know, we're human beings. We're open to ideas and what we can do to improve it, and we encourage people to kind of throw their ideas into us as much as they can.
All right, guys, so you got about 5 minutes left, so this is the last call. EVGA.com/live giveaway. The secret word is fuse drive. Whoa.
Well, you're not in good shape there.
No.
Now Jacob's
And I'm
definitely
dead.
not looking good.
Not looking good.
No.
Now I'm dead.
I think you did.
I'm definitely dead.
But you're doing that and talking and streaming at the same. I mean,
Yeah,
come on.
right. I guess so. It's got to count for something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
FUZEDRIVE, fuse drive.
It's an optional block size when formatting for use with fuse drive. You know, we fix it, but you got to remember that it's the IOs from the host and the operating system that define those things. So now we have what we call a page size, and a page size is the blocks we move under the hood, but that's irrelevant to to how the game's played. All the IOs come through native from how they're presented to us from the game. They make it way pretty much natively through to the drive. We sometimes split them when you got a bit of data on the SSD and a bit of data on the hard drive, and it still hasn't warmed up. It's in transition. Then you're going to split it. But
Alright, this is my last chance. When I die, I'm done. I did not too bad this game, though, I have to say. I'm not the highest on the leaderboard, but hey, you know, I almost got a 1-to-1 kill-death ratio, and for me, that's pretty good. What? You can't climb up here? Oh, there we go.
Yep, secret word again. Fuse drive, guys. Fuse drive, as it's coming up on the chat.
So here's how you can make a quick exit. Oh, that didn't work.
Somebody's talking about hydrating water here. We should have consumed it. How much?
Oh, it's
At least
it's like a
4 ounces.
Yeah, so there's like a bot in our server. I don't know in our chat. I don't know how that got there,
Interesting.
but it tells you when you should be drinking. Water.
Interesting.
Not
Okay.
drinking like alcohol, but drinking water.
Water, yeah, yeah. Let's see, 4 ounces. Is it accurate?
I don't know,
Mm.
but I guess it's good to know when you should be hydrating, because this Battlefield stuff is very, very intensive for me.
That's cool. Ram this right? No, not a ram. It's a
Oh,
tiered
done.
SSD hard drive fuse drive system.
All right, last call. EVGA.com/live giveaway. The secret word is fuse drive. SUZEDRIVE. All one word. All right. Well, you ready for the giveaway?
I'm ready. Ready as in.
All right.
Whatever. So
let's.
do I
go
need to hold
back
this while I'm doing
here.
it?
Yes,
So I need
that's
to be
a,
hitting them with the Fortnite?
that is a requirement.
Okay, all right. I'll be holding the Fortnite.
So let's see. We have a couple of those. I don't know where the other ones went.
There's only one. Did
Yeah.
you need one?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right. The secret word was fuse drive. Fuse drive. Testing. So we can see here's all our entries.
Here we go. There's some people getting... Do we have to do this?
Yes. It makes it more exciting.
Just to go like this? And
Yeah.
Drum roll?
I'm not sure why, but it does. So the first giveaway we're going to do, we're going to give away an EVGA X299 Dark motherboard. This is our highest end. It's basically our highest end motherboard. So it's the highest end EVGA motherboard that is available today, which also comes with a free copy of fuse drive. So don't forget, guys, any EVGA motherboard that you buy that's Z390, Z370, or X299 comes with a free copy of fuse drive.
Somebody wants to win the pickaxe. Can they do that? No.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it would cost more in shipping than it'll cost
Exactly.
the whole thing.
Exactly.
So I'll make you a deal. For the winner, we can send him a pickaxe instead of the X299 Dark motherboard.
I got a feeling I know which one they're going to offer.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think so.
All right, here we go. So what happened here? Fuse drive.
Yeah, make sure you spell it correctly.
Yes.
After telling everybody. Does it matter if it's lowercase or uppercase?
Doesn't matter.
No.
Okay, we have a winner. You
Uh-huh.
ready? The winner's name starts with a T. It's Twitch user T. I can never pronounce these people's names ever. THRALDON. Thrall.
Thralden?
Thralden.
Is it Thralden?
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 Thralden.
It's Thralden in the room.
Congratulations, Thralden. You have won an EVGA X299 Dark motherboard. You will get an email from us verifying your shipping address. But that's not all. We also have 5 fuse drive plus keys or codes. Keys or codes?
A download and a link and a key. You'll get a
Yep.
yeah. You'll get that.
So we're
send
gonna
it.
have 5 winners here. So let's select 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so Thralden was the winner for the X299 Dark motherboard. All right, so
Congrats, Thralden.
next up we have Turix.
Whoa, what's that?
Turixant. Turianx.
Terzian? No, I don't know.
Tell you guys. We also have a mixer user. So mixer failing, FEILING. Twitch user Crackling Ice. Twitch user Kojin1999, and last but not least, Twitch user Z4U2NV. You guys all win a copy of Fuse Drive. Congratulations to all the winners. Thanks everyone for stopping by and checking us out. Thank you for joining our stream. It was a lot of fun. Learned a lot about the drive. Hopefully, Fuse Drive. Hopefully you guys did as well. Don't forget, next week, 7 a.m. Pacific time, we're going to start our 12-hour St. Jude giveaway live stream. We're going to be streaming for 12 hours. We're going to be gaming. We're going to be eating chili peppers. Yeah. Who knows what could happen? You never know what could
chili
happen.
pepper. You're going to do it again.
I don't know.
You're going to look really ill by the end of it? And
Probably.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll eat one every hour for 12 hours. No, that's a horrible idea. So congratulations to all the winners. Next week we'll have a lot of giveaways as well. And yeah, that's it. So if you guys missed it, Fuse Drive, check it out. You guys have a website? It's fusedrive.com? Or?
Yeah, Fuse Drive. In fact, it's Enmotus.com.
Enmotus.com.
ENMOTUS.com. Or eventually, I think if you go to fusedrive.com, it'll also take you to the Fuse Drive website.
Yep. So learn more about Fuse Drive. It's pretty cool technology. I can't wait to get it on this machine because this will solve a lot of my headaches that I have every week with all of our games that don't fit on these drives anymore. So
you will play much better.
Yes,
definitely.
Yes. So see, that's why, guys. Remember in the past streams I was always so bad, and then he came.
We're here to elevate people.
And then I'm doing better. So I think if I get it on there, then I should do better, right?
Yeah, you will. Of course you will.
We hope so. All right, guys. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks. Take care, guys.